Hey and welcome. My name is Vaughn. I'm an, I'm a developer here at Valkyrie Game Studios, and I'm going to be doing not a quick crash tour. I'm not going to do something quick. This is going to be an in-depth tutorial about setting up a character rig with 3ds Max. I'm using version 2017, but this should apply from 2014 all the way up into the newest version 2020. If you are using Maya, I don't know how to use Maya, so unfortunately I can't help you with that. Our studio, we use Max. If you're using Blender, again, um, I can probably read up on Blender and make a tutorial for that one. But as far as right now, this is going to be in Max. So if you haven't already, always make sure you have your tools installed with the current version of Cryengine. If you're on that version, for example, I'm using 5.6.1. Um, so the tools are installed on Max. Um, and right now we're just going to use this base character. And on a side note also, I'm not going to provide any files per se, because once again, this is for you to learn, and it's a lot easier to learn if you just follow. And believe me, I'm a software engineer, so me learning this took a while, a lot of trial and error. But after a good couple of days of keep repeating, I was able to pretty much master it in a sense. So first things first, like I said, we have a character model here. He is our spaceman. He is broken up into a couple parts. We have his arms, backpack, boots, hands, head, helmet, pants, and upper body. Um, if your character is in the T pose, then you don't really necessarily need to do this. For him, he's kind of in a standing position with his arms down, so I kind of just broke his model up into parts so it's easier when it comes to the skinning process. Not necessarily for the setting up the bones. It's more for the skinning, because the closer each object is, the moment you skin it, it's going to start doing some tearing onto other objects. So it's best to have your model in a T pose or some pose that his arms are away from his sides, unlike this model. But if you do have a model like this, well then you're in luck, 'cause this is how I did it, pretty much just breaking them down. Um, Right here is the selection. So this is our layers tool. I already did my presets. So I have my model export. I have my main layer I'm working on, Bipple 1. And inside the export, I already made a little plane, a single plane with only one face on each side. And that's going to be for exporting the skeleton or the CHF file. So I already did that and I put it into here another export, keep myself organized. So once again, I'm going to start on Bipple 1. So we're going to use cat rigs. Great thing about Max is that we can use cat objects. So go into helpers up here on the top under create. Um, we're going to go helpers, cat objects, cat parent. And right now there's a whole bunch of presets you can use. By all means, if you have a model that can fit a preset, use that preset. I personally don't use presets. Here at the studio, we don't use presets either. The reason why is because every model is different, and it's a lot easier to get everything into place building the skeleton rig one by one than just throwing the preset up there and moving things around and trying to get it into place. So for right now, we're just going to use none. So I have that selected, and then with none selected, as you notice, my mouse changed. I have like a little crosshair. It's going to go to center of the world origin, and I'm going to make sure I left click and hold, and I'm just going to drag out a good size roughly where he's at, right about, no, it's still bigger, right about there. And then once I got the size, I right click, done. Next thing I'm going to do is set right here from view, I'm going to set this to local because we're going to be messing with bones. So first things first, W on your keyboard is a hotkey for the gizmo for up and down, left and right. And I'm just going to make sure this thing is centered in the world origin. And before I even rotate it, I'm going to go to modifying tab for this object, and I'm just going to add an X form. And then now I'm just going to select my rotate tool, and now I'm going to rotate it 180. And as you can tell, I had snap angle and snap percentage on, or I probably could have done an angle, but I put these two on so I can get perfect 180. Once that's done, I can turn those off, hit Q, and then I'm going to go to this X form and collapse all. And then now that I have it collapsed, I'm going to make sure I freeze the model. Since he's in this layer, I can just click right here, the freeze button to the layer, and then now he's frozen. So now I'm going to create the pelvis, and obviously his pelvis shouldn't be in his head, so let's move it down to where his pelvis should be. And I have all 4 viewports. It's easier for me. If you want to use 2 viewports, by all means use 2 viewports. I have 4 viewports. So let's go ahead and get his pelvis using the front viewport, which is technically his back. And what I'm going to do is, using just the length, width, and height, I'm just going to bring the length in roughly about there, bringing this in. And the reason why I'm bringing the pelvis very into like right here is because once we start with the leg, we want the leg not to stop here. We want the leg actually to come more into the model, just like your legs are, like your bones and your leg is. It's deeper in, like, it's more inwards, and you get better deformation when you have your bones, like your bones in a manner like your rig bones. If they're in the manner as your skeleton bones, like in real life, you have a better deformation. Um, for at least for humanoid characters, if you have like a very unique character, then that's something completely different. But the general rule of thumb is try to keep the bones more tucked in. So when they deform better. So right now I'm trying to get this right here, this point where I know his spine's going to start beginning. So I'm just going to get the height. And then once I get the height to right about here, down here, I'm going to bring the width in a little bit more. There we go. And then let's look at the side view. Let's bring that in. And that's okay if a little bit of it is pointing out. I can probably bring the height down to, let's say, 10.5. Yeah, 10.5. With that, it's going to select add leg. And for naming convention, I kind of got ahead of myself. But if you click back here on character, we're just going to change this. Well, for me personally, you can leave a character, but I like to call it Bipple1. And changing this will change every single thing to call Bipple1. So now it's Bipple1 hub. I'm going to change this from hub to hips. You can use pelvis, hips, pelvis, as long as you know. For left leg, I'm just going to put space L, and that's it. And then for bone name, I'm going to put space thigh. I could put upper leg, but thigh works too. And then for the next bone down the list, I'm going to put space calf. And then for change the name for ankle to space foot. Whoops. Foot. Okay. Now, before I even move the foot into place, I'm just going to get these bones shrink down a bit. A little bit too much. Again, I can get it as big as this leg. Some people do it that way, like this. I roughly try to imagine his skeleton. So let's see, that's 4.8. So let's do 4.8. Select the calf and just make its width 4.8 also. And then let's bring the depth down to, oh yeah, it's going to be 3.5. 3.5. And then depth for this one, 3.5. All right. He has big boots. I can probably leave his foot this size. Maybe bring the width down a little bit. And then I'm not going to move the foot whatsoever. What I'm going to do is move the platform. So the platform is what you want to move first. Matter of fact, I'm probably not going to move the foot at all. I'm just going to use the platform to move his leg into position and his foot into position. And what you're going for, he's a little bit exaggerated, obviously. So I can tell right here is his toe. So his foot is pretty much on spot. But let's say you have a character that's proportionate. Then you might want to like bring his foot in or rotate it from where that ankle is to where that toe bone is going to go out. So something like this you might have to do. But for him, I don't have to do that. And then for rotating left and right, I'm just going to use the platform. Not the bone, but just the platform. And then change the length of the platform, kind of roughly outline his foot. And then that's it. I got his foot into place. Maybe I can move it a little bit more that way. There we go. I'm not worried about the knee yet. And then on his foot, I'm going to add digits. So num digits right here. When you have his foot selected, I'm going to put 1, enter. And then now I get these 2 digits down here. Clicking on the first digit, I'm going to change the number of bones to 1. And I'm just going to get rid of this number. I can keep that number 1. I'm just going to change the top to space, toe, base. And then that should make it toe base 1. Probably get rid of that one. Let's make it toe base. Yep. Space, toe base left. Awesome. And then for the toe, I'm just going to shoot the length out. No, it's a little too much. Let's do 9. 9 is good. I'm going to move his toe out more. Probably swing it in a bit. There we go. Perfect. Now for the knee, since I have the foot in place, all I need to do is select the calf and just move the calf into roughly where his knee is going to be. And for reference, I'm using the gizmo as my reference for deformation. So where the joint is going to bend is where this gizmo origin is. So this center piece of this gizmo is actually where the bend is going to happen. So I'm just using the gizmo to bring me into where his knee is. And I can see in the model his knee's like right here. So I can bring it that way, make sure the left and right looks nice. Great. And then for his upper leg, swing it in and up more. Probably like to here. That's it. That's one leg done. With that leg done, the great thing about CAT, unlike bipeds, I can just hit add leg and it just copies everything over. With the biped, you have to like copy the pose, create your other leg, and then paste that pose there. With CAT, you can just add leg, bam, copies. So now with that done, it's going to move over to the spine. So I'm going to add spines. Click on the first spine. Change this number for him. I don't need these many bones. I probably just need 2. And that's 2 spine bones. And it counts the number of spines by the first one all the way to this last one. It does not count the hub. So if I change this number to 2, I have 1, 2, and then the hub. And for this hub up here, we're going to call this one spine also. So technically I have 3 spine bones. So just a rule of thumb when you're working with CAT, when you do make the spine, you want to make this hub the spine also. Like this is where your clavicles begin. So you want to think of this as your last spine bone. So with that, with the first spine selected, I'm going to do is move it up because its pivot point is not going to be down here, obviously. It's going to be up here where it meets the hips. So right about there. And then now I like the width, but the depth's too high. So looking on the y-axis, that's our forward. I'm gonna bring that in, and then same thing for the second one. What is that? 5? Make that 5. 5. Change this to y also to 5. And then grabbing the hub, I'm just gonna go ahead and just drag this down. And this is important. You want the hub. See right here is where it's gonna bring out the clavicles. And just like your actual skeleton, your clavicles are not parallel to your shoulders. They actually go down a little bit. So your clavicles do come down, and then up to where your shoulder socket is. So let your clavicles, they have that angle to them. So with that, I'm going to change this one's width to roughly the same width as the spine. And then the length, I think I put to 5. Yep. Height, I can just leave that the same. Where's height? There we are. Yeah, I can maybe bring height up a little bit. Height, I'm just worried about where that neck is. I don't want the neck bone stretching too far. So I'm trying to get the height roughly, probably where the shoulders are. Just remember, it's where this gizmo is. That's where the clavicle is going to begin. So with that length, not length, sorry, height, probably right about there. And then for these two bones, I'm just going to see where they, yep, but dead center and his belly button, where his belly button should be. And then for the first spine bone, you see it says 1 and then spine for spine name. So we're going to change the top one to space spine. This one we're going to leave blank, so that's your first spine. The second spine, we're going to call this one spine 1 and then spine 2. Spine 2. So we have our first spine, or 0, 1, 2. Pretty much just like in an array, 0, 1, 2. So with that, looks good. And then we're just going to say add arm. And as you can see, it started right here where this gizmo is. The clavicle came out. I'm going to probably move this down a little bit more. Yeah, about there. So this is obviously way too thick for him. So let's go ahead and using the YZ, X, Y, and Z, we're just going to shrink this clavicle down. Pretty small actually. So yeah, roughly about this size. Clavicles are not that big. I'm not worried about the Z because moving the arm would adjust that. So I'm just trying to get the width and everything down to size to where we need it. Let's change that to 4, 4, and probably with this one too. 4 width, depth 4, and then width 4. What I like to do too before I even start moving the arm is take the hand. It's just like with the foot. If you move the hand into place first, everything else moving that's a lot easier. So with the hand, there's a trick key to this. I see a lot of people do is try to take the hand bone like so, and then start shrinking the hand to the actual size of the hand. Actually, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is this. Let's see, the hand's facing this way. The thumb's going to come out here, and I can tell just by changing the number of digits to 5. So there's our hand, right? Let's get rid of 5. Let's make it 0 again. So first thing I do is I rotate the hand facing this way, just like where his hand's facing. Then, whoops, that's his leg. Don't move that. No, come on, Mr. Hand. There we go. So let's go to the side view here, be easier. So here is where his wrist is, and I'm just going to get the gizmo. I'm going to get this to split pretty much where that wrist bend, where your wrist is going to bend. So it's like right about there for him. And once I'm happy with that, now what I'm going to do is take the height, bring this down a good amount, width, same thing, probably right about there. And then length, it's going to come probably right here. And that's his hand. And then next for his arm, see his hand stays in place. Now I can move his arm freely. And then let's bring this into place really quick. I'm just gonna get it roughly in position. And then now I'm gonna fine tune it. So bring that there, look on this view. I wanna get this arm right into his socket where it needs to go. Yeah, it looks good. I can just swing his elbow in now. And, oop, his elbow's right here, so let's bring that down. Bring that elbow right about there. Again, looking on this view. Right where that y-axis is right here. Trying to get that dead center where that elbow bone pokes. So I know it has a nice bend to it. And I'm not using rotate whatsoever either for this. Now he's a little bit harder because he's not in the T-pose, but if your character's in the T-pose, this would be a lot easier. I figured doing this character would be a lot better to learn, just in case you do have a model that's, like I said before, not in a perfect T-pose, or a pose where his arms are out. Seems about good. I think that's what I'm gonna get is best way to get the arms. Bring the elbow in like so. I already know I'm gonna have an issue right here because I know this arm's gonna start to grab this area, but we'll fix that in when we do our skinning process. So right now I'm trying to get the hand to look as good as I want, and what I'm doing actually is along the top of your hand, I'm trying to get that bone, just the hand bone, maybe a few centimeters down below the quote unquote skin. And then now I'm going to create my digits 5. And then Control S, Control S, save, important. Grabbing the first bone, right? So 1, 2, 3. This is his thumb. I'm going to change digit to space thumb. If I can spell it right, thumb. And then I'm going to change the number to 3 to 4. So I guess 4 bones here, and then I'm going to do the same thing for every finger. So I'm going to name them properly. Index, change this number to 4, enter, done. Same thing with this one. This is your middle finger, so space middle, number of bones, 4. Ring finger now, ring, number of bones, 4. And now for the pinky, number of bones, 4. Alrighty, so not grabbing the first bone, I'm grabbing the second bone of the thumb, and then it's gonna, whoops, if I double click on this second bone, it highlights all 3, and then I'm gonna move it down into place. And the reason for this is you get way better hand deformation doing it this way. Like so much better. So just getting it in the center where it should be. And then his thumb's in a weird, whoops, my camera's being crazy. There we go. So his thumb's in a weird position, kind of like swings this way. What I'd like to do is I take the length, give it some length for each bone. Don't want to move that. So let's give it some length. And then I double click again on the second bone, and I just use the rotate tool really quick just to see how his thumb's bending. So I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna have to swing his bone around. So let's see, bring this down more. All right, I'm gonna grab these two bones here, bring that out to there, and then now I'm just gonna use a rotate just on the bone itself. I'm gonna turn this, because like I said, his thumb is in a weird position. So I'm just gonna use the rotate tool to help me here. Trying to keep these bones aligned, that way when I do bend them all together, they bend nice. And it seems like I probably need to give this one a little bit more length to it. I'm trying to see where this knuckle crease is, and then rotate down where I need to. Just bring the length out. This is the next knuckle crease, so bring the thumb in. Bring it down, and then if I grab all three, you can see how his thumb's gonna go. Let's take this one, swing it out more, and then in more. Yeah, that looks good. Bring this down. Yeah, it's the best I'm gonna get that. And same thing with the fingers. So once again, I'm looking for, you see his knuckles are in an angle. They're sloping upwards the direction. So what I'm gonna do is a side view here. I see his knuckles right there, so I'm looking in between here for that bend I want, and just a little in. And once I feel like that's good enough, I'm just gonna give it some length. These are just arbitrary length numbers. That way I can see roughly how the bone's gonna go. And then I'm gonna look down his finger, and I can see his finger's pretty straight. I don't need to, probably just have to turn it a little bit. So selecting this first bone, swing it out some. Yeah, right about there. Okay, so swing this bone in. I'm looking for that first knuckle, which is right here. So I'm going to shoot the length down to that first knuckle. Swing this in. Here's the second knuckle there. A little bit before it, just a little bit. And then swing the last joint. Bring that length out. Alright. Probably turn this, swing it. Yeah, that looks good. As you can tell, I'm not like dead center in his finger. I'm more towards the edge. It's just like you gotta think of your anatomy. Looking at an actual skeleton anatomy helps a lot, I'll tell you that much. So let's go ahead and do this one too. Once again, I'm just looking for his knuckle, which is hard to see, but his knuckle's right here. So let me get that first right here, this line to where I want to slice that knuckle right there. So now I'm just going to give it some arbitrary length. So So once I got its length, I'm just going to go now to the rotate tool. Rotate, turn, because its fingers are turned a little bit. And then swing it in. Okay. And I see his first knuckles right there, so let's bring that length down. Swing in. Oh, it came up a little short. Swing it in more. Right about there. Let's swing this one. Bring that length down some. Seems like. Sorry about that. It's my alarm. So now, if I get this one a little bit more length, swing this in more, and then I'm just gonna finish off too, right about there. So as you can see, it's cricket. So that's not bad. So what I'm gonna do is start with the top bone first. Try to get it kind of center in. Then I'm gonna start moving these bones where they need to be, one by one. That's all I have to do. Swing this one in. Right there. Perfect. Whew, on to the next one. Okay. Once again, it's going to find that crease where the knuckle's going to begin for this one. And for this one, it's a little bit higher. And left. So now just some length to it. And grabbing that first one here is going to turn. Rotate. Swing in. Turn some more. Because I wanted to swing it in this angle. Because if you see, watch, if you go like this, it swings in a weird angle. So it's good just to make sure you get the alignment nice. Okay. So for this one, bring this length down. And for the next bone, I'm doing this pretty quickly so I can just see what's, yeah. Now if I grab all these, oops, here we go. Well, that's a lot better. Yep. And probably swing this down a little bit more and then swing this back up. Yeah. Alright, let's go on to the pinky. Last but not least. And like I said, the great thing about CAT, once I'm done with this, I just click add arm and I don't have to do anything for the next arm. I would say definitely check out, make sure you look at each bone anyways. So once you're done here, we're just gonna do a quick check on the other hand just to make sure that it came out just the way we want it to. This guy's not going to be used for anything, so probably just for testing purposes. Or I might use them for more tutorials. So let's see, we want to swing this way, turn that way, swing more, turn. There we go. Oh, I think I I don't think I turned too much on that. Alrighty, so right there on the knuckle. I could probably bring this up more. And then now I'm just going to start rotating. Swing it in. That's alright. Bring that in some more. Okay, so I see that's this next one here. Alrighty, so I'm checking all the angles to make sure I'm going in the right direction. Okay, and then for the last one, swing up. And then once again, yeah, see. Same thing with this one. Looks like this finger is a little too short. Right about there, and then the pinky can just finish it off. Done. Alright. It's the best I'm gonna get it right now. I don't want this video being too long. So, back to the hub, or technically our spine 2. It's gonna say add arm. Quickly just make sure everything looks good. Yeah, all looks good to me. I'm happy with it. One thing though, I think I have his hand too far out. Should have probably brought it back right here. But if I do that, that just ruins all that. And then I have to swing this out to match it again. But that's alright. Yeah, this bone should be right about there. Curves. Well, we'll see how we do. Alright, so back to the hub. There's two ways you can do a head. As you can see, if you click on hub, there's no selection for head. You can use the spine again, or you can do a tail. Everyone has their preference. I'm just going to go with spine. Before I do, I'm going to make sure the arm is named properly. So as you can see, it says L arm. I want that to say L. Collarbone, I'm sorry. Starting with the collarbone. So collarbone, space L, that's it. And then for the C right here, I'm going to give it a space. That way it just looks nice. It's easy to read. Now for this one, change it from 1 to upper arm. Lowercase a. And then change this from 2 to forearm. And this one, change from palm to hand. And what's great too, you can also, if you want some better deformation, especially when it comes to animating, you can select these arms and you can go to segments and you can add another segment so you can get a nice twist. So you can change the segment from 1 to 2. And then now you have upper arm 1, which this one I'll just call, get rid of the 1, and I'll just call this upper arm twist. And when you start animating using IKFK, it would actually twist this bone a little bit. Gives it a more natural look. But that's up to you. I'm just going to leave this to 1 right now. And then for this side, I'm just going to make sure instead of R arm, I'm going to say R. And then same thing with this side. Upper arm. If I would have done this side first, I wouldn't have to name this side, so that's my bad. Forearm. And same thing with this forearm, you can add segments to it too. Hand. I don't have to do anything with the fingers though because it already calls them thumb. Because I named thumb on this side, it's gonna be thumb on that side. So let's see. Back to the hub. We're gonna say add spine, and we're just gonna say number of bones 1, and we're gonna say name neck. And for this, we're just gonna shrink it. Don't need that much for neck. And then again, the neck doesn't bend there, so just bring it up to right about there. And then for the head, so what I do is this character I can actually do facial animation on him, but if you're not, you can pretty much cover up to his nose or right about here. I would say would be the best, and then get the width down roughly to where his ears begin, and then the height you want to get to where the skull is. If he has a helmet, I'm not worried about his helmet. I'm just trying to get from like chin to top of the head, so kind of see it fits all nicely. There's his ear, top of the head, chin, done. Let me bring this to the back view. If you had facial features that you wanted to animate, then I would say take the length, shrink it down behind the eyes, and then from there you can add bones for the eyes, eyebrows, all that stuff. Um, but since I'm not doing facial, I'm just gonna keep his head bone about this big. I'm happy with that. All right, so all this is done. Well, what's our time looking at? We're at 42 minutes already. Yeah, we can continue. I still got time. Just grab thirsty. Okay. And what's great about this naming convention that I did here, um, if you can't animate, um, or it's hard for you per se, Mixamo or Maximo, whatever you want to call it, this naming convention is the same as theirs. So I can take this rig into Mixamo and just pick an animation and read down and just download the animation, and then I'm good to go because it's the same. There's a few things that you would have to change a little bit. If you want root animating, because we do need to add a root bone, and unfortunately Mixamo doesn't do well when it comes to root bones for some odd reason. There's a fix for that. If you do want to know it, just leave a comment or something, and I'll cover that. So for right now, I'm happy with this. He is looking good. So this is the quickest part. I'm gonna unfreeze the model now. I'm gonna select his arms. And there's one thing I do want to do quickly that I didn't do on this one. Control S, 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 save. I want to go into, I'm going to delete the skin modifier off of this. I'm going to go to element, and I'm just going to separate these shoulder pads. And no, that's fine. I just want to separate the shoulder pads and whoops, not that, but this. The reason why this is like again, I'm thinking about how he's going to animate, and this object and these objects here, they don't need to blend. Like they shouldn't be being torn or deforming in any way. They're metal. They should be standing still, like solid. They can rotate, but there shouldn't be any deformation on them. So I'm just right now about to detach them so I can make sure that just a single bone affects it and nothing else. I don't want his upper arm affecting this and then causing this to do some weird artifacts or whatever. Same thing with these shoulder pads. I just want to make sure none of that is being affected. So actually, I can probably keep those out. I don't think I'm that close. No, I'm too close to it. So yeah, we'll do that. And then it's going to say with element selected, detach, and then I'm going to say yes sir. And then with that new object, I'm going to name it something really quick, like shoulder pads. There we go, shoulder pads. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and start arms. I can see I have just his arm selected. And for arms, get out of element. I'm going to use skin modifier. I'm not going to use the Cryengine one, and I'll tell you why. Cryengine modifier, you can edit envelopes, you can do this, you can paint, all fun. Problem is, if you have a version of Max like I do, you have an awesome feature that you can use with just skin. So using this, I'm going to go to advanced. So skin modifier, advanced, affected bone limit under advanced parameters, and change this to 8. And on a quick note too, before I get ahead of myself again, he's already set up properly for texture map, for UVs and textures and stuff like that. If you have yet to do that or set the IDs or smoothing groups, do that first before you do the skin. Like definitely get the skeleton down, get your rig, and then go back and make sure you have his material all set up and ready to go, all that stuff, or his or her material or whatever, and then do the skinning process because to go back to editable poly to start selecting faces, you can collapse this, or there's a way that you can keep the skin modifier there, but sometimes with Max at least, it gets finicky and it'll ruin your skin modifier or it'll delete it. It does happen. Believe me, I experienced it. There's times where it never happens and then out of nowhere, boop, I lose my skin modifier. So just a heads up, a good rule of thumb is do all your materials, you do your IDs, smoothing groups, all that stuff, and then skin him. Or, anything else. Like skinning should be the last thing you should do, so you don't have to go back. So, anyways, let's go for the arms, and we're just gonna say add, and I already know everything's in my layer, so arms, I can tell that this spine, so spine 1, 2, and everything up to his neck and head, so it's a lot. So let's go to collarbone, forearm, hand. Don't need his fingers, just the hand. Upper arm, collarbone, forearm, hand, spine 1 and 2. And I believe I am missing, oh yeah, his head. So I can select that. Let me go to his head bone because I didn't call this head. Space, head. Now if I go back to his arms, I can go ahead and add head, and believe we're missing neck. Select. Let me look at his skeleton. Come on, let me grab just this bone. I didn't call it neck, that's weird. Alright, space, neck. There we go. So, add. Make sure I have his neck now. Yep, Pipple 1 neck. Select. So everything's in here. And now, with my weight properties, weight solver, voxel, click these 3 little dots. I'm going to say fall off 0.65, 4 for maximum influence. The higher this number, the longer it's going to take. So I usually do 512. And yeah, we can add winding numbers, get some more accuracy. And what it's going to do is going to guesstimate everything for the skinning process doing voxel. So it's going to look through your whole model and the bones you selected and try to guess the best it can for skinning. And even if it does get it wrong, you can always go back and touch it up. So it's a quick way to get something skinned and going. If he was in T-pose, oh my God, voxel, you could probably just use voxel and that's it. You'd be done. But for him, I know I'm gonna have to touch up some areas. All right, so let's go to upper body. Once again, I'm just gonna add just the skin modifier. For this one, I don't want his head influencing anything, so just probably his neck and collarbones, barely, and then just his spine and pelvis. Oh, there's an object I see right there. I'm gonna have to see. Watch. Let me see. It didn't do it this time. This doesn't belong here, so let's detach that. Okay, now I'll just add that to the legs. So back to skin. Add bones. See, it worked for me there. I'm just letting you know. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So hips, collarbone, neck, spine 1 and 2, and that's it. So now I got that skin. Move on to his legs, and I'm gonna hit attach really quick so I can get that object there. There we go. And then for legs, same thing, skin, add bones, and then we just need his, where are you, Mr. Hips? Well, we need calf, that's for sure. Because his calf, even though his calf, I want to get that nice bend to it, so I definitely want to get this calf and his hips, not upper arm, thigh, there we go, I'll call it thigh. And then right thigh, right calf, and that's it. And then once again, voxel 0.65, good number. 4 for influence, 512, 1 numbers, go for it. Done, and then I forgot to do that here. So same thing for his chest rig. 512, 1 numbers, apply. Done. Alrighty, so we're almost done. Now let's do his boots, skin, add bones, and for this one, calf, and I wonder if I should get his upper legs. We'll see without it. So just his calf, his foot, and we need that toe base. There we go, toe base. Same thing on the other side. Toe base, calf, foot. Select. Voxel. 4. Let's do 512. Use 1 numbers. Done. And now for his hand. You see his hand's inwards. I could add his forearm to this. Yeah, see, I missed. I'm too far out. These bones are good. This hand bone is too far out. If I didn't skin his arms, I would fix this. Or unskin it, fix it, and then reskin again. That's alright. You live and learn, right? Skin, add bones. Whew, stupid hands. So much you have to add to them. So hand, index. Add all his finger joints. And yeah, fuck it, grab his forearm too. And index. And that's it. So now, voxel 0.65, 4, 512, or actually let me do 1024. I want that to be accurate as possible. Okay. And I just missed his helmet. So, yep, I can add the bones to the helmet now. Helmet's easy. Oh. And I just Lost that because I clicked on something too fast. Yeah, I see that. You're hidden. Unhide. Don't click fast. Learn from my mistakes. Head. And I probably don't even need to do this honestly because this head's gonna have absolute power on there, and that's set to 8. Once again, just make sure advanced parameters is set to 8. Some of these I already did that for, so I didn't bother to do it. Um, but just double check 8. This one's 20, so yep, change to 8. I'll do that last. This one's 20, so I'm gonna change that to 8. And ooh, forgot about a few. If there's anything wrong when I import, then I'll know I'll just have to reskin it or something um, because of that. So for these shoulder pads, let's go ahead S. I'm gonna say add bones. Pipple 1. For this one, I want his upper arm. So that's for that one. And then for this one, forearm. And same thing with the other side. Upper arm, toe base, right forearm, left forearm. Where's your upper arm? Oh, I'm sorry, left forearm. There it is. Oh, forearm, upper arm. Select those 4 bones. Voxel just to make sure. And bring this number down. 4 is fine too. Yeah, it's only a few things. Okay, now for the moment of truth. I'm going to freeze the model. Select his pelvis. So it's looking good. That didn't get skinned properly. Alright, so let's go see what's up with this not being skinned. Edit envelopes and see what's up. Left upper arm. Paint weights. No, you're just not having a good day. 0.65, 4. Okay. Let's see your arm bone. That's a weird thing. Let's go ahead and delete that. Let me do this. Take this. Take these 2 objects, add it to, and add them by themselves. So we're just going to detach these 2. Forearm. I want to say accessory or attachment. Okay, let's see if I can get these shoulders to work. Skin. Once again, maximal influence 8. Add bones. And we just need upper arm and upper arm. I'm using control too, by the way. Control left click. Select. I'm not going to touch it afterwards. And then for these 2, same thing. Skin modifier. Add skin. Pippa 1. Forearm now. And where is your forearm? Forearm. Add that. And then for his backpack, skin modifier. Add bones. I just need spine 2. Set to 8. Alrighty, so let's freeze. There we go. Oh, I forgot his head, apparently. So let's uncheck that. Check his head. Check his head. Oh, I didn't even add it, that's why. Thought I did his head. Head and part of his neck. And then for this, we're definitely going to do 6 point. A lot of fall off for that one. I can just pick probably 2, really. It's only 2 bones. 20 numbers apply. Done. And then now it should be. Yeah, there we go. Probably have to give more strength to the head because it seems like, yeah, that's alright though. So with all that done, first things first, another great thing about Max with the Cat Rig is that now we can go to the Motion tab, go to right here where it says ABS. I'm going to go to this Running Man. I'm going to hit play. Then Cat Motion Editor. I'm going to select a preset. We have Run, load into existing layer. And then now I can see how I wouldn't use this whatsoever. Sometimes this would actually get you really good results sometimes. But I can see how he's deforming, right? So a little problem there. That's fine, that's the export. His thumb or pinky, something right here is swinging in hard. So that's looking good. I can go ahead and delete that layer, add a animation layer, and then I can set auto key really fast. Select all my keys, or everything actually, just want to make sure. Set key, and then let's go to quick, maybe frame 24. And I just want to check his hands. Yeah, his hand bone apparently did not go with that thumb. Or that thumb did not. This definitely did. See? That looks great. Look at that. Nice. And then check this finger. Check this finger. And then we're going to move his hand. Yeah. His hand bone needed to be more this way. Because right now it's pushing off of against this. So I'll have to fix that. But looking at the animation, those fingers are on point. Oh. And Max just crashed. Well, good thing I saved. Like I said, save, save, save. Save your life. Come on, Autodisk. There we go. So I'm just going to wait for this to load. Get back to it. Hopefully yours didn't crash like mine did. If it did, then, you know, good thing we save. So let's say you're all done, right? Let's say everything's skinned together. You know, we have, I don't know, I'm sure I didn't save before the skinning. Yeah, I didn't. But let's say everything is skinned and you're ready to export your skeleton out, right? This is your love, your everything. There's 2 things we need to do. There's one, we have to make a root bone. Um, there's something I'm trying to figure out, and I can showcase it to you right now. The issue, maybe one of you guys probably know, but on the documents they say make a dummy, right? Make your dummy node, center your dummy node out to the world. Whoops, right click, there we go. And then link this dummy to the pelvis or hips, right? The problem with that though is that if you want procedural animation, that root gets moved all over the place. It's not it's not staying in a straight line flat as your character is moving forward, right? Because you can have a running animation in place, and then you have a running animation that actually moves forward. And the best, in my opinion, the best would be an animation of him actually moving forward with that root bone like dead center below the pelvis or hips, just falling along. Um, so doing it this way, yeah, you can do it this way. It's easier just to put this underneath him, make everything pretty much a standing animation, just in place. But there's times where you want to do blend shaping, right? So if you want him to start turning left in a certain angle and then right in a certain angle or rotating, then this dummy is actually an issue. And there's nothing in the documentation on the forum on Crytek about that problem. Um, there's a solution somewhat. I've yet to really figure out if it works properly, but we'll find out right now. Clicking this right here, if we go to the modify tab for this triangle, we have something called extraction node. If you click that, you get this big ass triangle or arrow, and this is actually now your root. So this is now the root of this cat rig, and not only that, if you set this cat rig to procedurally walk forward, this root will just go forward as it should. Um, so if we just go to graph editor, schematic view, as you can see, it's now your root. So we can actually take this and just name it root. So we have our hips, our root bone, and then everything underneath. And the great thing about that, all we need to do now is just go to our exporter, and now skin modifier is added. I'm just going to add bones, add the hips, save my work. Make sure I save my work in the directory that we're working in, and that's going to be at PC, D drive, projects, right, D drive, projects, my projects? No, I forgot what I call this. Class projects? No. Oh, it probably is my project. I probably didn't call it anything. Alright, so characters. I'm just going to create a new folder. Spaceman. Spaceman, save it in there. And then now, heading over to Cryengine Exporter. Clear to list, add selected. Roots there. Custom file name. CHR. I'm going to name this Spaceman underscore skeleton. Save. And 8-wave prefer text. Export. Done. And then now to the engine, see if all went well. Let's maximize this. Sample characters. Nope, here we go. Spaceman. So add animations. I'm just gonna add a quick folder. Test anims. Select. Jesus, why'd you do that? Event files. We'll use the default one. DD path. Animations folder. Save. Save all. Oh, I'm so used to it being up here. Jeez. File, new character, objects, characters. Oops, go back. Nope. Go back to, here we go, Spaceman folder. And just call this Spaceman. Jesus Christ, why do you think you're doing that? Alright. Take this, maximize that. Character tool. Let me just dock you. You're just being weird. Alright, let's see. Objects, Spaceman. Oh, error. Incomplete character cannot be loaded by engine. Stupid root node. Yeah. So let's go to display options, skeletons, joints, joint names. Let's go back to here. I tried. I want that. I gotta figure out why is that not happening with that. Let's go to create tool, dummy. Put the dummy there. Maybe it's because it's a bone. I might have to skin that bone, not the hips. It might be that. That might be the answer. I'll test it. I'm a software engineer. I have no idea. Like, this is all stuff I've been learning. All right, so no, I don't want to select everything. Just that dummy. Change this to root. Save. CHR. Custom file name. All right. Clear list. Add selected. Oh, not that. Clear list. Add that. All right, good. Exit. Bam. All right, let's go back to first person guy. And then now let's go back to Spaceman. And there we go. So yeah, it's that bone. I'm sure if let's test something out. So here's the skeleton rig, right? So let's put the dummy node as the root, right? Pelvis, everything's in. All his hands are in. And if we go to joint name font size, we can bring this up. Yep, everything's looking good. So let's see. Let me go to, let's try a different method too. Because like I said, this dummy thing is going to be annoying if you want procedural animation. So let's go ahead, delete that dummy. Let's make that motion, right? Call this roots, save. Now let's replace hips with root, because that's the highest, it's the bone. Custom file name, save. Curless, add selected, export nodes. Now if we go to sample character, Spaceman, yep, same error. And I'm sure it's because orientation. Yeah, orientation. Alright, so once I figure out how to solve that, I'll let everyone know. But for right now, just use the dummy. Right, simple, make your dummy node. Zero this out. Call this root. Save, let's go to graph editor. We're gonna link the hips to the root. Save again. And then export. Do you want to replace? Yes, I do. Oh, clear list. Oh, that's right, because I got rid of that bone. So add bones, just the hips, add selected. And then now, there we go. Export file. Do you want to overwrite? Yes. Now if I go back to Spaceman, there we go. And that's it. Um, Right now we can also go straight into adding and just again add skin modifier, geometry, add everything we need to do. We can set up his proxies. There's a way that we can make a custom proxy too using the cat rig. Um, I'll do that in another video. Right now we're at an hour and 15 minutes. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. You can always message me on Discord, Von Bismarck, if you have any questions about this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'll try to do better, being a little bit more organized. I just got done with work, and I remember I wanted to do this for everyone. So in any case, hope you guys get your characters in game, and hope it goes well.